we have to keep our eyes on the AI opportunity that Mr. Kella was also speaking about. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, our next session is also about AI bringing the great cinematic reset.
So this is what we are going to talk about, because cinema has always shaped by technology, right from silent frames to sound, from analog to digital spectacle. But artificial intelligence represents a shift of a different order. Now it influences not just production efficiency, but also creative imagination itself. So right from visual effects to script generation, from editing workflows to global distribution strategies, AI is now redefining the economics and the aesthetics of storytelling. Production cycles that are now accelerating, collaboration is now becoming borderless, and the cost structures of filmmaking are also now being recalibrated.
And yet, this transformation raises essential questions. Does AI enhance human creativity or risk diluting originality? Does it democratize content creation or centralize it further through algorithms? So as India positions itself as a global content powerhouse, this conversation becomes both cultural and economic. Please welcome on stage, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Namit Malhotra is the founder and global CEO of Prime Focus Limited and DNEG. He's going to be in conversation with Aisha Faridi once again. Aisha, it's over to you.
Well, from capital markets to the changing face of cinema, and who better than Namit Malhotra to highlight that? Namit, that's your mic.
Thank you, Aisha. Great to be here.
So, Namit, all about movies. I mean, your family has been in the business for what, over 40 years now?
It's actually, I'm third generation, so almost 75 years.
Wow, okay. So you've really seen the entire spectrum, Namit. Tell me, what are the key things that you've seen or noticed in your journey, or rather your family's journey of 75 years, that has sort of stayed with you? What wins eventually?
I think it's fair to say that, my grandfather, when he started, and he was a cinematographer, he shot one of the first color films in India in the 50s, brought color film technology, trained in London right after the partition. And so what we've seen from there to my father producing big movies like Shahenshah, which was my father's film with Mr. Bachchan. So what one has seen repeatedly...
I think a huge round of applause for that.
So what one has seen is that there has always been this excitement about how technology is going to enable or enhance the customer experience or the consumer experience. So we've gone from a black and white silent era to sound and then color and then all the different formats that have emerged since then. And it's almost like film came first and then did television and then other formats like VHS. And at every technological turn, everybody said that's the doom of cinema. Like now nobody's going to go to the cinema. You're going to see less and less people interested. But what has happened is that every step of technological advancement actually grew the industry manifold. So while VHS, was meant to be, you don't have to go to the theater, you can watch movies at home. Because more people had access to the movies on video cassettes, the excitement to watch it on the bigger screen became more interesting. So the doom of cinema has been spoken from the beginning of time, and I think at every turn the industry continues to get stronger. And I believe that we are yet again at another inflection point where there's a lot of chatter about how AI and new technologies are going to change the way movies will be made or how they will be consumed. But I feel ultimately it's about the job the filmmaker has is to excite and entice its viewer. And they're all about getting excited about the story, the emotion, and the characters. And technology is a tool in the hands of the director. So my view continues to remain pretty standard, that technology is meant to be used as a tool and not a replacement of the medium. And that's where I see even AI being a very interesting tool in the hands of the filmmaker, I think, can only create a more engaging, more immersive experience, which is what the generations of today and the generations of tomorrow are going to want.
Namit, as an avid movie viewer, I would say that eventually it's about the storytelling. While AI, technology, and all the innovation around it may enhance that storytelling and make the director or the producer's vision more impactful, but eventually it's the story that wins. Having said that, with all the disruption that you're seeing around AI and technology, firstly, to begin with, where has technology reached in the world? Because you're one of the few people who've actually taken India technology to the global stage. Where are we at when it comes to the movies and technology and AI?
I think if you see that, post the onslaught of the streaming, platforms through the pandemic, I think quality has started to become even more discernible. Like if you think about the quality of the device in your hand, all the way to what you watch at home and what you're expecting to now watch on the biggest screen that you go and watch a movie at, the quality profile of that image, of that experience has gone up significantly. So technology is being challenged pretty significantly. I don't want to throw technical jargon here, but it's 4 times or 6 times more complicated to produce an image today than we were doing 10 years ago. So that's the qualitative enhancement that one has seen. On the other side, because there is such a wide optionality of what filmmakers have in terms of the right screen for the right type of content, there's a little bit of a recalibration that is happening in what do you want to watch in the cinema and what are you going to watch at home. I think that's the biggest shift, if you ask me, where the content industry is now starting to take a more closer look at saying, is this content exciting enough for me to ask my customer, the consumer, to leave everything in their life and come to the cinema and give me 3 hours of their life for this experience. And that, I think, is fundamentally where our industry is really finding that pivot. That how do we make sure that we can bring these people to the cinema versus when they can sit in the convenience of their, basically anywhere on a device and consume the same content.
So tell me, you yourself at Prime Focus have been making so much technology advancement, and you've come up with something called Brahma AI. Tell me what it's all about, and how does it make this experience of movie watching on any device better?
Sure. So it's less about, that's not more of a technical enhancement. Sure. The idea behind creating Brahma AI is to be able to bring, the technology of being able to create digital avatars of people, to immortalize them and to keep them relevant. So for example, in the future or in the present today, we can basically have our digital avatar that can exist in the world until we like. And that to produce at the highest fidelity and quality is really the undertaking of Brahma. The core essence being that it has to be with a very strong ethics layer, because that is fundamentally at the heart of what we do. You have to make sure that creating a digital avatar is the simple way of saying that we will be able to immortalize people in the digital world. But it's at the end of the day, from making sure that the consent is in place and that how it is being used and how it is being accessed, is the entire control of that is what we've created to be in the hands of the person or the individual that is the ultimate owner of their own IP. So that sort of is really at the heart of a lot of innovation that we're driving. And I think soon enough, there'll be a public presentation of what it is that and how it is going to be accessible and how it's going to really make a difference in its various applications that go beyond, frankly, the movie industry and into various other sectors. The movie industry only gives us actually the stepping stone for creating the highest fidelity, the highest quality, so that the difference is not discernible.
Fascinating. Given that immortality is something that mankind has always sort of, grappled with. But do you see mass-scale adoption of a Brahma AI kind of variant?
So it's not designed necessarily for any and every average consumer. It's more of an enterprise solution. So we are looking to make sure that companies, businesses, places where you're using what I would call a faceless approach towards interacting with humanity. How do you make sure that you've got a technology solution that you feel like that level of trust and confidence is being established? And therefore, the applications are more enterprise-led and less at the consumer B2C-led.
And how do you take it to the movies?
So in the movies, it's got various applications. In fact, we had done a film at the very start. It is a film called Here for Tom Hanks, who was brought back to his screen age of 25. And, if you see the image, it's impossible to tell the difference of Tom Hanks when he was 25 and now when he's much older. And that is sort of the power of the tech. And, it's to me, the future of being able to bring all our stars from the yesteryears back and have them continue to be immortal, because there's so much love and likeness for them. These are great opportunities to be able to bring and leverage their stardom that goes beyond them for the benefit of their families and trusts and, how that can work. So I feel pretty excited about where this can go, as long as we keep having to remind ourselves that it has to be ethical and it has to be, applied in the right way. And that is true for just about anything that we do. It's not specific to this, but yes, this can be misused or abused if you don't have the right security framework around it.
I'm quite excited about your upcoming movie, Ramayana. I'm sure all the audiences here as well are. Tell us a little bit more about how technology is going to recreate the age of Ramayana.
So for everybody in this audience, obviously Ramayana is our foundation of our culture, of our story, of our history. And, I'll make it a little more personal from where it comes from. So I've spent the last 2 decades almost really trying to establish a foothold in Hollywood. And unlike many other American industries, whether it's financial services, technology, medicine, Indians have had a very strong, history and success that has been established. And when I went to Hollywood, I almost saw that, we had no real presence. They didn't really have an appreciation of our industry, of our history, our culture. And through that journey of my own personal journey, it kept frustrating me that we were seen from a lens of being this, emerging country, whether it was a slumdog millionaire or we were under the colonial rule. We were always the victim. And that really troubled me to a large extent. And I was like, we got to bring something that shows who we are, where we come from, our culture, the richness of our history in a way that the world has never seen before. And that really became the genesis for why the Ramayana, I think, is the perfect part of our history that can be presented and shown to the world with pride. Because we have everything that the biggest Hollywood spectacles have. And one has made sure that we mount it at a scale, at a budget, in terms of its technological engagement and visual scale that is second to none. I think people here should feel tremendous pride that we will be we are making what I would call in 2026 one of the largest films as an independently financed film in the world, from anywhere in the world. And I think that is the conviction that is singly being driven by this enthusiasm of how do we put India at a level that the world sees us for what we are and not through the lens of events and incidents that have colored, whatever misgivings there may have been. So I'm very enthused about what I feel we're going to be able to showcase to not only everybody in India, but to the whole world.
But has the perception changed in the last 5 odd years as opposed to what it was 15 years back?
I think in the last 10 years, since 2014, I would say that, since Prime Minister Modi really took charge, I think one of the things he did very specifically in really uplifting our profile in the West, and that has really helped put us at a point today where we are not looked upon in the same way we were 2 decades ago when I started. But I still think there's a lot more distance to travel. And I feel like, I personally represent an industry that has over 100 years of history and legacy. And we've never really been able to make a mark on that side. And this is where I feel it could be our moment to really put ourselves out there and, really do the best we can.
And it's such a beautiful thing that you belong to an industry which has such an easy way to take India to the globe. I mean, go anywhere in the world, you'll find an Indian, and when you find an Indian, there will be Indian movies connect for sure.
Sure. And that is something that I felt, like I said, in spite of that, it's not happened. And there must be a reason that in 100 years, if it's not happened, there must be something more than what meets the eye. And that I've discovered that. Obviously, that journey has not been easy, and I fight that fight every day, as Mr. Kela very elegantly put, that the Indian entrepreneurial spirit is raging, so it doesn't know the word give up, and we are relentless in that pursuit.
Okay, Namit, great. Thank you so much for your time, and here's to the movies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aisha and Mr. Malhotra, for that fascinating session. Ladies and gentlemen, incredible